The fact that Melania Trump is all over the Epstein files is now becoming a very big issue for her in federal court in New York. Melania has removed the civil lawsuit filed against her by Donald Trump's former biographer, Michael Wolff, from New York State Court to federal court, and she's asking a New York federal court judge to transfer the case to a Florida federal court judge. I guess she's hoping to get Judge Eileen Cannon or somebody in Florida, and she's claiming that she does not live in New York City. She claims she lives in Mar-a-Lago. She's been avoiding service as Michael Wolff sued her and has tried to serve her, and she's been arguing in front of a federal judge. I haven't been served, so the case should be dismissed. And in any event, the case should be moved to Florida because that's truly where I live and not in New York. Michael Wolff, you will recall, sued Melania in New York State Court saying he's from New York, she's from New York, thus it belongs in New York State Court. She goes, nope, federal court under something called diversity jurisdiction. I won't get all complicated on the term, but if you're from different states and the damages being claimed is above $75,000, the case can go and be removed to federal court. Then she's saying, let's transfer it to Florida. She just wants delay, delay, delay. Remember, she threatened to sue Michael Wolff for $1 billion if he didn't retract statements about her regarding his allegations about her and Epstein and Ghislaine. And then on the day that she said, I'm going to sue you, Michael Wolff sued her under a statute called the Anti-SLAPP Statute of New York, saying that she's infringing on his First Amendment rights to report on her. He's been trying to serve her with the lawsuit. She avoided it. That's when she ran to federal court for this delay tactic. So how are the Epstein files impacting this lawsuit and her desire to transfer this case to Florida? Michael Wolff is saying, we need discovery on the Epstein files now. We need to explore your relationships because you are mentioned in the Epstein files on multiple occasions. And that also evidences the fact that you lived in New York then. Also, look at your social media posts, Melania. You refer to New York City as your home. So that's really where you live, not Florida. The fact that you have a driver's license and an address at Mar-a-Lago, that's just part of a scheme, Michael Wolff alleges, to claim that you're there in Florida, but you're really in New York. Barron's in New York. All of your workers are in New York. And throughout the movie Melania, you're always in New York. And it seems that New York is where you really live. Let's just take a look at the filing right here where it references the Epstein files. This is from Michael Wolff's lawyers. And Michael Wolff is saying this case should stay in New York State Court. Remand it, bring it from federal court back to New York State Court where it belongs because they're both citizens of New York, and definitely don't send this case to Florida because this is a New York case. So here is what Michael Wolff says in this declaration through his lawyer. Many of the emails and other materials now emerging from the Epstein files show New York City centered contacts between the Trumps, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Epstein and related associates. Pause there. One of the interesting things is that Melania was threatening to sue Michael Wolff, saying she never had communications with Ghislaine and she doesn't know anything about this. But in the Epstein files, Ghislaine refers to Melania as Sweet Pea. Melania refers to Ghislaine as G. Melania praises the New York Magazine article where Ghislaine is photographed and Jeffrey Epstein is in there, and Donald says that Epstein likes women on the younger side and that Epstein's a great, incredible guy. So that was all in the email. So Melania, how are you going to sue him for defamation when you were in those files? In my opinion, I'm giving you this is First Amendment protected opinion speech, right? This video is first, let me be clear, it's First Amendment protected opinion speech. I've given you all the disclaimers. I'm giving you my opinion right here. I believe it's pretty grotesque the way Melania is mentioned. Just interesting that the MAGAs want to depose Hillary Clinton, who's not in the files once, but maybe Melania needs to go before the House Oversight Committee as well. Here's what Michael Wolff writes in his court filing. He says how, for example, see attached Exhibit B, is an email from Mrs. Trump to Ghislaine Maxwell asking Maxwell to give her a call when Maxwell gets back to New York. In another, Maxwell refers to Mrs. Trump, Melania, as Sweet Pea. And FBI 302 discussed Epstein and Zampoli's efforts to buy elite models. It notes Epstein introduced Melania Trump to Donald Trump, which is what Melania threatened to sue Michael Wolff about. But in the files itself, an FBI 302 report literally says Epstein introduced Melania to Donald Trump. Now, Melania says that's not what actually happened. It was Paolo Zampoli, who had his own modeling agency where he brought in European girls to party with rich New Yorkers at the Kit Kat Club at these various events. And it was Zampoli who made the introduction. And, look, I suppose what Wolff is arguing, again, my opinion is that this was the crew. This whole crew hung out together. So these were all modeling agencies of these, of these rich guys. And this is just what they do. This is what they did. And then Wolff goes, it's manifestly clear that most of the witnesses and sources of information and documents surrounding Trump's activities pertain to these things that can be found in New York. I do find it interesting too that Wolff is using the Melania documentary against her. And he's like, I've seen the Melania documentary, and if you watch it, you'll see that it's centered in New York. She talks about even the Melania documentary and the public behavior of the Trumps gives strong indication of her deliberate independence and separateness from Donald Trump, it goes on to say. And then it talks about, in any event, we should have discovery and have Melania sit for a deposition where we can ask Melania about what's going on so that we can speak with Melania and find out, and ask her these very, very, very important questions.
So this is an important news story that's not getting nearly enough attention, so let me interrupt for just 1 minute. Donald Trump's war on clean energy has already canceled or delayed enough electricity to power more than 13 million homes. I want you to think about that. And this is, of course, at a time when electricity bills are skyrocketing for families across the country. Here's the data. Under Trump's watch,